Hey, what's up guys? We are here for the semi-final match versus Akki, the former champ of the NPL Season 1. So now we are in Season 2, made it to the semi-finals after beating Eric, or the Astonishment. Everybody messes that up. But anyway, we barely got past Eric. I wouldn't say... Okay, I'll take that back. We didn't barely get past him, but he's a terrific opponent. So now we have to play another great opponent, like I just said. Akki, and his matchup is tremendous versus mine. His team, half his team just kind of completely walls mine, so I gotta really come up with something that can pretty much just beat his team. I don't know about sweeping, because sweeping is gonna be pretty tough versus like a regen user team and a pretty offensive team. If you guys haven't noticed, or if you guys didn't notice in the previous matches with Eric, Sneasel has been a huge problem, and now I have to go up against even something better than a Sneasel, and that is Weavile. So before I talk anymore, I will just tell you his team right now. So he has Mega-Aggron, Victini, Weavile, Rotom-Wash, Crobat, Tangrowth, Nidoqueen, Aselgor, Hitmontop, Aromatisse, and Buffalon. So out of that team, the bottom four don't look too scary. Aselgor, Hitmontop, Aromatisse, and Buffalon. I don't think he'll bring any of them. If he does, it'll be the Aromatisse, probably like a Heal Bell, Wish Pass user kind of thing. But I don't think he'll bring any of those, so I pretty much just scratched those off the list, and said I'm not gonna really worry about those too much. The only thing I had for Aselgor was my Focus Sass Mamoswine that I'll get into later. But yeah, everything else I put on the table because everything else is fair game. So I knew he was gonna bring Mega-Aggron as well, just because of the fact that it beats my Mega and it beats half of my team. So I'll hop right into the team building for you guys. So right off the bat, I threw Thundurus on the team. This Thundurus is almost the exact same set, if not the exact same set. I'm not sure what EVs I was running versus Sneasel compared to the Weavile. But we are running the same item, the same moveset, and pretty much the same exact thing. If it's not broken, don't fix it, right? So I just thought maybe this set will work as well. It's just so nice to have Prankster T-Wave, just because of the fact that if he wants to run Lumberry Weavile, he's going to have to lose some power. Usually you can run like Orb and just gets a little bit more damage off. If he wants to run Scarf, he'll outspeed me, but I still have that priority. Which is pretty nice, honestly, and the Yashi Berry always lets me live in Ice Shard no matter what set he is. And now if he's banded, Icicle Crash will OHKO me, so I really have to be careful and try to scout what kind of set he is before I do anything else. But yeah, I have HP Flying over HP Ice because of the fact that it 2-hit KOs a non-AV Tangrowth at +2, or I mean, it actually OHKOs at +2. I think it 2-hit KOs an AV set, so that's the reason for Flying. The only reason for Ice is the Nidoqueen, so I just kind of decided I think he'll bring Tangrowth over the Nidoqueen, and I thought it would be a little bit more valuable to throw Flying on because that stab is pretty nice, honestly. Other than that, Flying, that's pretty much Flying's only use. I still 2-hit KO I believe I 2-hit KO a Nidoqueen at +2. Depending on his set, usually they're more physically defensive than specially defensive, but you never know. And he also loves to run berries on his Nidoqueen, so there's no real point to try to run like ground coverage or any other coverage because he'll probably throw a berry on it anyway. So I thought Thunderbolt and HP Flying is pretty much the same exact set, or like I said, the same exact set last time, and I thought it would be just enough to get the job done. So speed investment is to outspeed a Jolly or Timid Victini depending on his set. So pretty much outspeeding base 100s, and everything else is just thrown into special attack and HP investment. Just because the added bulk is really nice, honestly. Yeah. So after that, or with that being said, that is our Thundurus set. Now our next set is the Latios. So hopping into the Latios set, this set is really, I guess, situational is the best way to put it. It's just kind of like a safe haven for like a revenge kill. The idea is to try to get rid of Mega-Aggron and then potentially Tangrowth as well. I don't know how well AV Tang eats up Dracos and Psychics, but it probably eats it up pretty well, honestly. I'm not too sure how well, but I think this is probably the best set versus his team. I didn't want to run Colbur Berry because the fact that like this thing already takes a ton from Pursuit or Knockoff anyway, so there's almost no point to running that. So I wanted to run something a little bit different and maybe catch him off guard a little bit. I don't know if he's going to expect Scarf Latios, even though it is very like it's not unheard of. Everybody has heard of a Scarf Latios. So the idea is to potentially Draco a Weavile. If he's banded or scarfed, I can at least if he's not scarfed. If he's banded or Life Orb and he tries to knock me off and I click Draco Meteor, I will be able to knock him out. Especially after Stealth Rock, it's in my favor to knock him out right now, but I don't have the guaranteed kill unless he. It depends on his set actually. If he runs some weird HP investment Weavile, which I highly doubt he does, that's a terrible set honestly. Then he might live the Draco, but he probably won't. I'm running just enough speed to outspeed a Scarf Victini as well. So this is pretty nice versus that because Scarf Victini is definitely a thing too. I'm kind of scared of the V-Create. It's one of my V-Create checks because if you guys look at my team, I don't really have a V-Create answer. So I won't be surprised if he brings Banded Victini. I'm just going to have to revenge kill it, and this is one of the means to do that. So yeah, V-Create is a problem and a half for me, honestly. I don't really have too much for it. And this is also a nice Levitate user, honestly, versus the Nidoqueen. So yeah, I Oko Nidoqueen depending on his set. Like I said, if he's offensive, I Oko it Psychic, but if not, then I don't. I 2-hit KO it. But yeah, just enough speed to outspeed Victini, Scarf Victini, and the rest is just thrown into special attack and HP investment, just because the fact that I need a little bit of bulk, but not too much. So this thing is also a very nice check to the Crobat. If he's banded bad, I can Oko it with the Psychic, and yeah. Memento is the reason why I have Memento on here is because the next Pokemon, I'll get into it later, but I need to find an opportunity to set up with my Cofagrigus because it puts in a lot of work, so I'll get into that in a second. And lastly, the Defog is just nice because of the fact that he could be running spikes on the Excelgor. He has T-Spikes with Nidoqueen, and he has a couple different rockers, so I have to be, wait, does he only have, no, he has 2 rockers. He has the Aggron and the Nidoqueen, so but yeah, that is our hazard removal because I don't want Thundurus taking too much damage. But yeah, I'll get into the Cofagrigus. So here's the Cofagrigus set. This is pretty much my only form of setup versus him. Like at least I know I have Nasty Plot Thundurus, but this is pretty much my only form of good setup versus him, put it that way. Shadow Ball HP Fighting is all the coverage I need. It hits everything on his team. It actually Okos Weavile, which is really nice because the fact that it's quad weak to fighting, so that's pretty cool. And then the Shadow Ball Spooky Plate combo is actually very nice. I didn't want to run Life Orb, and just because I don't want to take that recoil, because I know this thing is going to have to take some hits in order to be setting up. So that is the reason why we have max HP investment, and then the rest is thrown into special attack with a Quiet Nature to make sure I outspeed everything after a Trick Room. The slowest Pokemon on his team, I believe, is, I want to say, Aromatisse. But yeah, like I said, I don't think he's going to bring it. And then everything else, he only has one Ghost Resist, by the way. It's a Ghost Immunity, and that's Bouffant, and I really don't think he's bringing Bouffant. Everything else takes Shadow Ball neutrally except the Weavile, and I have HP Fighting for it. So that's my thinking behind that. If I get a Nasty Plot up and a Trick Room off, this thing actually puts in work. 2-hit KOs Aggron. If I get up to +4, it Okos Aggron. Always at +2 Okos Victini, unless she's Sash or some weird variant. I Oko Weavile with HP Fighting. Ice Shard is not going to be doing too much either, and Ice Shard is doing around 20%, I believe, with the Life Orb set. Then what else? Yeah, Rotom-Wash just drops, unless he's probably like max special defense or AV Rotom-Wash, which I don't think he would bring. Bat dies, Tangrowth dies, unless it's like max AV, HP, and special defense investment. Excuse me, I have a bit of a cold anyway. But yeah, the Nidoqueen drops because it's just not that bulky unless you throw a lot of special defense investment in it, and I don't think he would. And obviously Excelgor, Hitmontop, and the Aromatisse don't appreciate a Shadow Ball either. So this thing puts in a ton of work. If I can get up to +2 or +4, don't be surprised if you see this thing put in work, because he just doesn't have any Ghost Resist that are or any good Ghost Resist, put it that way. The Bouffalon is not what you want. Be resisting ghosts, or be your ghost immunity, and then the Weavile is definitely not going to appreciate it either. So this is a really cool set. Spooky Plate over Life Orb because I don't want to be taking recoil, but I still want to do a little bit more damage, and I didn't think Leftovers was packing enough of a punch. So that's the reason behind Spooky Plate. It made a bit of a difference, honestly, versus a couple different things. So that's the reason why we're running Spooky Plate. Next Pokemon is John Cena, our Machamp. If you guys didn't know, I picked up Machamp over the Gorbis. I dropped Gorbis earlier in the season, and this thing is also a very nice. It's a very nice. I wouldn't call it a Weavile check at all, but it's pretty nice versus his team, honestly. If you guys don't know what Dynamic Punch is, it's with No Guard, the ability No Guard. Every move used by this or against this Pokemon will always hit. So he'll be hitting me with everything. I'll be hitting him with everything. And Dynamic Punch has 50% accuracy and 100% chance to confuse the target. So that's pretty cool, honestly. I have no real Weavile check, I guess you could say. So this is potentially my best one. In a way, I have makeshift sets like the Yachiberry Thundurus, and I have this thing, and then I have Thick Fat on Mamo. But yeah, it's just not going to be good if Weavile starts ripping through my team. So I really got to be careful, honestly. But this Machamp can potentially eat a hit with its HP investment, a little bit of defense investment. This is generally designed to be sure to eat. I think I eat 2 Icicle Crashes if he is Scarf Weavile. I think that is the calc that I have on this thing. But then again, you never know. He could just flinch me and kill me or get a crit or something. So yeah, it's just not the best case scenario. But I wanted to have max attack to be able to at least hit the Aggron. I do about 35 to 40 with the... No, I think I do a little bit more. I think I do about 38 to like 43 with my Dynamic Punches. Depending on his set, I don't know how especially defensive his Aggron's going to be. But yeah, this thing definitely eats the Dynamic Punches up. But the good thing about Dynamic Punch is I confuse on every single one. So every safe switch-in, such as Bat, which Quad resists Dynamic Punch, is still getting confused. I know I don't have too much for Bat if he brings it, like on this particular Machamp set. You might be asking, why am I not bringing Ice Punch? Because of the fact that he has Tangrowth, Nidoqueen, and Crobat. I didn't think I would like it, because if he usually brings Tangrowth, it could be Rocky Helmet, and I don't want to just keep taking damage over time. Same reason I'm not bringing Power Up Punch. And I wanted to bring something that requires me not to hit him. So I brought Earthquake versus the Nidoqueen, if it's Rocky Helmet Nidoqueen, something like that. Knockoff is generally good versus Crobat, still going to be doing a decent amount versus half his team. It's always nice to get an item out of the way. And you guys see Heavy Slam over Bullet Punch, which you guys could be questioning that a bit. I would be too. Bullet Punch is not even a 2-hit KO. Well, it is a 2-hit KO on Weavile, but he'll probably kill me before I can kill him. So the reason I'm not bringing Bullet Punch is because of the fact that Aromatisse could come, and Heavy Slam actually OHKOs a Spidef Aromatisse because it's 120 base power. So on the off chance he does bring it, I will be able to, after a Dynamic Punch and a Heavy Slam, I will destroy an Aromatisse more than likely. So that is the reasoning behind that. There's not really too much of a reason behind the Heavy Slam other than that. Because of the fact that it doesn't really hit anything except Weavile on the Switch. Maybe I'll click Dynamic Punch versus that every single time. But yeah, that's about it. So that's the reasoning behind Heavy Slam. Bullet Punch didn't do anything really to Aromatisse. It probably did like 30% max. But yeah. Assault Vest is actually very crucial because it gives me the fact to stay in on the Victini and take a Psychic. Which I usually can't, so Knockoff is going to be doing about 80%, I believe, to him. Now, if he hits me with a V-Create after his minus defense drop, I will be able to OHKO with Knockoff, which is also cool. Earthquake also does a ton on the Switch, and it's just nice coverage, honestly. Also, if he is Roost Crobat, which I believe he would bring if he does bring the Crobat, then I can EQ him on the potential Roost after taking some damage from my previous hits. So that's the thinking behind that. I don't want Ice Punch because he could just stall me out anyway with the Roost because he loses his Flying type, so I wanted EQ instead. Maybe I could catch him off guard with it. So that's the Machamp set. On to the Mamoswine set, and this set is pretty much designed as a I wouldn't go as far as saying a suicide lead because it would be nice to keep this thing around, but it might end up being a suicide lead because of the fact that if I get the matchup wrong, this thing's kind of dead because I don't want anything else taking damage. So Earthquake, Icicle Crash, Ice Shard, just your standard set with Stealth Rock. Thick Fat is kind of nice because of the fact that I can potentially eat Blue Flares from Victini. And I don't think I eat a V-Create, unless he's a very weak V-Create set, I might be able to eat one. Well, duh, I have a Focus Sash, so that's kind of my thinking behind that. If he wants to lead Victini, I can just click Earthquake, and if he wants to switch out into something else, I can just click Stealth Rock. So that's the thinking behind the Mamoswine, potentially getting rid of the Victini really early, potentially getting rid of the Weavile really early if he wants to lead that too. Nidoqueen as well, so it just kind of, if I get the lead matchup right, I get the lead matchup right, and if I get it wrong, I get rocked. So that's my thinking behind it. I didn't want to run Oblivious because I don't think he would bring something that would taunt turn 1. If he did, he would probably bring Bat, and I don't think he would stay in with Bat. So that's my thinking behind it. So I think the speed, what is the speed to... I'm pretty sure the speed is to outspeed a offensive Nidoqueen. That might be it. Yeah, but usually you see a more defensive Nidoqueen set from him, and it's nice that I have both things to hit him. Like I have Ice and Ground to hit the Nidoqueen, so that's pretty cool. That way he doesn't know what berry to run if he brings it. But yeah, this coverage is really nice. The only thing that I'm worried about with this Mamoswine is Rotom-Wash can come in for days on this thing. Icicle Crash is doing about 25% to a Fizz Def set. If he's offensive Rotom, it's going to be doing a bit more, like 35, which is kind of nice, but still next to nothing. So yeah, I'm really going to have to find out what set that Rotom is versus this thing. So anyway, the last Pokemon we are bringing is our Zelda, our Meloetta. Meloetta has been actually it has done surprisingly well this season. You see it all over the place. Well, you see it all over my battles. I'm bringing a Psychic Focus Blast set. Pretty much it hits everything on his team, at least for neutral or super effective damage. Yeah, it does. And Focus Blast is really nice for Aggron. Then again, Focus Blast has 70% accuracy, so hopefully we can hit a Focus Blast if it comes down to it. Same with the Weavile. But yeah, that's about it for the Psychic Focus Blast combo. It just hits everything neutrally. The idea with this thing is to try to set up a substitute, predicting he can just... having him predict he can just knock this thing out because he's quicker. So say I have this thing in on his Rotom-Wash or something, click substitute as he switches to Weavile, and I can just T-Wave or, yeah, I'd probably T-Wave first and then I would go for the Blast because of the fact that I could get some hacks. I'm kind of worried about the Aggron though, because the fact that Aggron could potentially be like a Rest, Sleep, Talk, Curse set. That's the set I was most scared of, honestly. A fully spit F, Rest, Sleep, Talk, Curse, Aggron. That was what I was scared of. Because of the fact that it could potentially eat, well, I'd have to hit 2 Focus Blasts, which is definitely hard to do, and it could potentially eat that. It was a roll to kill it, if it was at, I think. No, I don't think it was a roll, actually. I don't think so. It just, depending on if I hit those Focus Blasts, that's what I have to do. But yeah, I was really scared of the Aggron, so at least being fully spit F, because of the fact that it could just tank Dracos, it could tank Psychics, and just tank T-Bolts and anything else. This set is actually really nice because of the fact that I can come in on Tangrowth as well and just set up a substitute, even though he could potentially run Knockoff, but if he's Sleep Powder or something along the lines of that, I can click Substitute and then click T-Wave or then Psychic, you know, blah blah blah. It's just nice versus his team pretty much. So that is the team we are bringing to the NPL semifinals versus Akki, and I will hop right into the replay for you guys. So here is the replay. He brings Tangrowth, Crobats, Mega-Aggron, Weavile, Rotom-Wash, and the Victini. So generally what I expected, it was kind of a coin flip, I guess you could call it, with the Crobat and the Nidoqueen. I knew he was going to bring one of them. I didn't know if he wanted to bring maybe Hitmontop too, like maybe he wanted a Rapid Spinner instead of a Defogger, but I'm not too surprised to see the Crobat, put it that way. But yeah, so I'm just going to stick to the plan, lead my Mamoswine and try to get up rocks as soon as possible, because of the fact that I noticed his Defogger really doesn't want to keep taking these rocks damage, especially if I can put it on in the back foot. So as you can see, he leads his Rotom-Wash and I lead my Mamoswine, so we get the worst possible matchup. I just go for the Stealth Rock because I know I'm Sash, and I wanted to see what he would do. He's actually fast Rotom. That's really nice to know. And I go for the Ice Shard here, just trying to predict or see what set he is. I see no leftovers recovery, which means I think he's choice. So I go into my Meloetta here. I'm able to click substitute as I have my rocks up, and he's just going to keep taking rocks damage, which is fantastic. Honestly, I want rocks up for the Victini, the Weavile, and the Crobat. I want them up really, really bad. So I click T-Wave here while I'm behind a substitute, as indeed he does carry the Roar and just roars me out. That's probably the best thing for him to do as we get into our Latios, which I really don't want to be in. So I just go hard into my Machamp here as he clicks his own rocks, probably the best play. And I'm just going to click Dynamic Punch because there's really no reason not to. Something's going to get confused. Bat has to take rock damage as well. So now we have a confused Crobat here. And I go for the knockoff here as he goes for the Roost. I really wasn't predicting Roost. I thought Brave Bird would come in. But he has no item, so he's Acrobatics Crobat. And I'm going to get out of there and go into my Latios on the he hurts himself in Confusion. I actually double into the Machamp, predicting Aggron to come back in here to take a Draco or a Psychic. And he goes into the Tangrowth, which leads me to believe that he's a Sulfast Tangrowth and pretty specially defensive, as he switches out again because he doesn't want to take another Dynamic Punch. And now I can smack him with another Dynamic Punch, and this thing's already at 30%. So that's really cool. I actually go for the Earthquake here, predicting him to Roost to knock him out. So that's unfortunate, but I just switch out here and go back into my Latios as he hurts himself in Confusion again, which is great. It is a 50-50, so it's just hacks on my part. Knock him out with the Psychic, but now he knows I am Scarf Latios, unless he's slow Crobat, which I doubt it. Kind of predicting Pursuit here as he doesn't go for it, and I just go into my Meloetta here because it doesn't really serve much of a purpose anymore, as he goes for the Icicle Crash and kills me. This is very, very important. I lived that if he is a normal set, but he is banded, so I'm going to fire off a T-Wave here and just cripple this Weavile, making it so he can't really do too much, as he still Okos me. Well, he kills me with the Yachi Berry. But I go into this thing, I can click Dynamic Punch once again and just smack something. So the Aggron wants to come in, and I just go ahead and go for it. I get the Confusion, obviously, while he's paralyzed too, so he has to break through Confusion and Paralyzation. So he's unable to do that, and now I'm just able to knock him out. I don't want to click Dynamic Punch again in case he's trying to PP stall me, so I keep another Dynamic Punch as he goes into the Victini here, and I'm just going to stay in as I live the V-Create, which is very, very important because now my knockoff kills him for sure. I lived a Psychic, that's the reason I stayed in too. Even if he was Expert Belt, I still lived. But yeah, so I stayed in here, and then I knew I'm going to stay in again because he either has to hit the Hydro or click Volt Switch and take more rocks damage. So he clicks Volt Switch for the guaranteed kill and takes more rocks damage to the Weavile. And now I pretty much have to lock him into... Okay, so here, I'm going to pause it for you guys to explain my thinking. So this is endgame. This is still possible for me to win. It looks like he has it 100%, but I still have a chance. I go into this thing, making him, or pretty much forcing him to Ice Shard, and Ice Shard does next to nothing to my Cofagrigus. Well, it still does a decent amount, but it's not going to be doing too much. So I'm going to force him to Ice Shard here. He also has to break through Paralyzation, which is 25% on my Draco Meteor. And he has really nothing that wants to take the Draco Meteor except maybe the Tangrowth, but I'm going to force him to click the Ice Shard. And if he kills my Latios, that's fine with me. I go into my Cofagrigus, which is Nasty Plot Trick Room, and I'm going to pretty much start setting up and trying to sweep from there. So it has not taken any damage previously. It hasn't hit the field yet, so it'll be at 88%, which is a decent amount for a max HP Cofagrigus. So gonna go ahead and click a resume. He breaks through, knocks me out with Ice Shard. Obviously, he's banded. Go into my Cofagrigus here, and this is where I have to think about when to set up the Trick Room. When the timing is has to be perfect. I have to pretty much see what kind of set he is on his other Pokemon as well. I don't know what he's going to do here. If he wants to stay in and click Ice Shard, that's fine with me because it's giving me free setup. Rotom is not going to be doing too much. The only thing I'm kind of scared of is a combination of Knockoff and Leaf Storm from the Tangrowth. Because then after that 2 hits, he'll put me at like about 10-15%, and then Ice Shard will be able to knock me out with the Weavile. So I either have to bank on the Paralyzation, which I don't think he would think about that. I think he would think I'm a pretty bulky Cofagrigus, so I don't know if he would just try to knock me out here. So my prediction is he's going to switch as I'm going to get up a Nasty Plot. So he does just that, goes into the Tangrowth, which remember we are probably thinking is Assault Vest. And now here's an important play. I get my Nasty Plot up, which is great. I don't know what this thing is going to do. I think he's going to knock off. That would be my presumed play. As he goes for, I believe, the Leaf Storm. So he goes for the Leaf Storm, does 53% to me, and I get up another Nasty Plot. So here's my thinking behind this. The reasoning behind, or maybe he is a non-knockoff Tangrowth. I had to get the second Nasty Plot off because of the fact that I did the calcs, and it was a roll to knock him out depending on his set. If he was max HP, Assault Vest, I had about a 50-50 shot with my Spooky Plate, so I didn't really want to take the chance, and I wanted to go all the way with it. So I go for the Nasty Plot here again, and now I'm going to go for the Trick Room, and if he goes into, I believe, the Weavile, then I will be able to eat the Ice Shard. I'm still at a decent range of HP. And his next Leaf Storm has a chance to miss. It has, it's not going to be doing too much anyway. So I go for the Trick Room as he switches out, which is not the play in my opinion at all. It was definitely to stay in and get one more thing of chip damage and then do it. So I get my Trick Room up. He hits me with an Ice Shard, and he drops to the Hidden Power Fighting. So it's looking like I win here. There's no way a AB Tank can live a +4 Spooky Plate Shadow Ball that stab, and I'm able to knock out the Tangrowth, and pretty much it's just game over from here. Rotom has it has Sucker Punch, but I don't think he would bring it. So I'm able to knock him out with the Shadow Ball, and I'm able to clean up the game with this Cofagrigus set. So clutch. I still think he choked a little bit at the end with the Tangrowth play. I honestly believe he should have stayed in and tried to attack me again, getting me in range of Ice Shard. But I don't know his set, so I can't really decide his plays for him. So maybe it was the best play to go do that, but just not in my opinion generally. So very, very good game. Very, very close game. As you can see, I'm at 14% with my Cofagrigus as my last Pokemon. So not being Life Orb and being Spooky Plate came in clutch. I didn't want to take recoil, and I didn't have to win this game. So that is fantastic. We move on to the NPL Season 2 Finals, which is just insane, guys. This is my first year in the league, and yeah, we're already in the finals, which is fantastic. I can't wait to play. I don't know who I play yet. I either play Mega Lugia, and if you guys don't remember, that's the guy with Mega Gardevoir, Entei, Seismitoad, Heatran, Skarmory, that team. So even I believe he might have Gyarados too. But yeah, so that is the team. I barely beat him 1-0, and that was whenever I hit him with the Thunderous, and it paralyzed him, but then I thought it mattered, but in the end, my Mamoswine lived anyway and would have killed him with Earthquake. So, but yeah, we barely beat him 1-0, and then the other opponent I could potentially play is Adam. That's the guy with the Kieran Black and the Clefable. So we lost that game due to a 50-50, but you never know if we try to play him again. I really don't want to play Kieran Black and Clef again. I just hate those two Pokemon. But anyway, I don't have any choice, and we will see who wins that battle and play them in the finals next week. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I definitely enjoyed this game, and I will see you guys next week. Thanks for the support. See you later.